Shalom Aleichem, Mishpachim, Boker Tov. Today's a new day in the Tanya, daily Tanya. Today is a new day. All right, I am reading from my lessons in Tanya. This is a wonderful sefer, as I have expressed before. I love it. It helps me to understand the Tanya better, rather than reading raw form Tanya without its kind of commentary on it or insight with in between the passages. So this sefer helps me so much, and I believe it can help you too. I think this is for everyone. It really is. It's a nice book, nice sefer. We are in the 25th of Kislev. All right, it is a leap year. I will begin. As for the well-known saying that one whose deeds and misdeeds are equally balanced is called the Benoni, while he who has a majority of virtues outweighing his sins is called a tzaddik. This is only a borrowed name, a figurative use of the term borrowed from its true usage in order to emphasize a particular point. Thus, the names Benoni and tzaddik, denoting a balance between merits and sins, are in fact but borrowed names, used in regard to reward and punishment, because one is judged according to the majority of his deeds, and he is termed righteous in reference to his verdict, since he is acquitted at his trial. It is only in this legal sense that the term tzaddik is applied to one who performs more good deeds than evil. If, however, we seek to truly define the distinct qualities and ranks of tzaddik, tzaddikim, and benonim, our sages have remarked that the righteous are judged, motivated, and ruled solely by their good nature, as it is written, "And my heart is a void within me," meaning that he, David, the author of this verse, was devoid of all evil nature, having slain it through fasting. David HaMelech extirpated his evil nature through fasting. Other ways, too, are possible. We thus see from the Gemara that the definition of tzaddik in its true sense applies to the person who has rid himself of his evil nature. But whoever has not attained this degree of ridding himself of his evil nature, even though his virtues outnumber his sins, is not at all at the level and rank of tzaddik. In fact, not only has he not reached the rank of tzaddik, he has not yet attained each level of Benoni, as has been demonstrated above. This is why our sages have expounded, the Almighty saw the righteous were few, so he arose and planted and spread them in every generation. For it is written that tzaddik is the foundation of the world. Thus, in each generation, there must be a tzaddik who serves as the foundation of the world. The paucity of tzaddikim, the righteous, were few, can be explained only if a tzaddik is he who has totally rid himself of his evil nature. Were the term tzaddik to mean one whose good deeds outweigh the evil, why then do our sages say that the righteous are few, when the overwhelming majority of Jews have more good deeds than evil? However, the explanation of the matter, so that we better understand the levels of tzaddik and Benoni, as well as the various gradations within the ranks, is to be found in light of what Rebbe Chaim Weitzel wrote in Shar HaKedusha and in Eitz Chaim, that every Jew, whether righteous or wicked, possesses two souls, as it is written, and neshamot, souls, which I have made. Though the verse speaks of an individual Jew, as is indicated by the singular form of the word ruach, spirit, in the preceding phrase, when the spirit of a man which emanates from me will be humbled. The plural term souls is nevertheless used, indicating that every Jew possesses two souls. These are two nefashot, two souls in life forces. One soul originates in the klipa and sitra achra. Klipa means a shell or peel. God created forces which conceal the godly life force found in all creation, as a peel covers and conceals a fruit. Sitra achra means the other side, the side of creation that is the antithesis of holiness and purity. The two terms are generally synonymous. It is this nefesh which originates in the klipa and sitra achra that is clothed in the body of a human being, giving life to the body, as it is written, for the nephesh of the flesh, the nephesh that sustains physical and corporeal life, is in the blood. From this nephesh stems all the evil characteristics deriving from the 4 evil elements within it. Just as the 4 physical elements of fire, air, water, and earth are the foundation of all physical entities, so too is the nephesh comprised of 4 corresponding spiritual elements. Since they derive from the Kalipa, and evil in themselves are evil, and from them, in turn, one's evil characteristics come into being. Namely, anger and pride emanate from the element of fire, which rises upward. Once ignited by anger and pride, a man, like fire, soars aloft. Pride is a state of considering oneself superior to others. Anger, too, is an offshoot of pride. Would a person not be proud? He would not be angered when someone defied his will. The appetite for pleasures emanates from the element of water, for water promotes the growth of all kinds of pleasurable things. The ability of water to make pleasurable things grow indicates that the concealed within it is the element of pleasure. Thus, the appetite for pleasure derives from the element of water. Frivolity and scoffing, boasting and idle talk emanate from the element of air. Like air, they lack substance. And sloth and melancholy emanate from the element of earth. Earth is characterized by heaviness. A man encumbered by sloth and melancholy likewise senses a heaviness of the limbs. From this soul stems also the good traits inherent in every Jew's character, such as compassion and benevolence. But since this is a nephesh of Kalipa and evil, how do good characteristics come from it? This matter is now addressed. For in the case of the Jew, this soul of Kalipa is derived from the Kalipa called Noga, which also contains good, and the good within this nephesh gives rise to these positive natural traits. This Kalipa is from the esoteric tree of knowledge, which is comprised of good and evil. The souls of the nations of the world, however, emanate from the other unclean Kalipot, which contain no good whatsoever. As is written, Eitz Chaim, Portal 39, Chapter 3, that all the good that the nations do is done out of selfish motives. Since their nephesh emanates from Kalipot, which contain no good, it follows that any good done by them is for selfish motives. So the Gemara comments on the verse, the kindness of the nations is sin, that all the charity and kindness done by the nations of the world is only for their self-glorification. When a Jew acts in a benevolent manner, he is motivated mainly out of concern for the welfare of his fellow. The proof of this is that were his fellow not to need his help, this would give him greater pleasure than the gratification derived from his act of kindness. Concerning the nations of the world, however, this is not so. Their motivation is not the welfare of their fellow. Rather, it stems from a self-serving motive, the desire for self-glorification, a feeling of gratification, and the like. It should be noted that among the nations of the world, there are also to be found those whose souls are derived from Kalipat Noga, called the pious ones of the nations of the world. These righteous individuals are benevolent, not out of selfish motives, but out of a genuine concern for their fellow. And I will leave off there. Have a wonderful morning. Boker Tov.